So with Alien Covenant being a sequel to Prometheus, a lot of fans were left wondering if it answered any questions we had since the first Alien movie. Perhaps yes, in some ways, but according to the original script of Prometheus, there were a lot of differences that would have answered many questions in one movie. So the original movie was titled Alien Engineers and was written by Jon Spaihts. Now this story actually answered some questions, but this underwent many changes, and it just made things more confusing, and it left us with more questions when Prometheus was completed. Now Peter Weyland's role was a little bit different in the original script. They planned to terraform Mars, but in order to do that, they would need the engineers' technology. So Peter Weyland never takes this journey, and ultimately never meets the engineers. Now the reason for this change was because Peter Weyland was seeing himself as a god early on in the script. So instead of meeting the creators of mankind, he planned to terraform other moons and planets. Now he has a conversation with Shaw, and he says this: "What does God spend his time doing? God created civilization on Earth." And this is the reason for the terraforming mission in the original script. Another change they made was even though the final version of the movie had its ship called Prometheus, it did not really connect to the actual meaning of how Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to mankind. Now the original script mentions that the reason the ship is called Prometheus is because it was supposed to be a mission about taking engineered technology and bringing it back to humanity so we could use it, which is a much better depiction of the story that took place on Mount Olympus. Now after Prometheus, David ended up taking control of the engineer ship and technology. He later goes on to kill the engineers on Paradise, and in some sense, this scene can be linked to another part of the Greek story where Zeus says he will not share a spark of fire with mankind, because if man had fire, they could become strong like gods and drive them out of their kingdom. And this is what happens after the Prometheus movie. So even though that does connect in some way, it's not the same as the original terraforming mission. Another change was that Holloway was the original host for the Deacon Alien, which was supposed to happen when him and Shaw were having sex, which I can see would be a much more gruesome and horrifying experience. So in the movie, David betrayed his team when he put the black goo inside Holloway's drink, so it wasn't really clear what made him do this, but in the original script it was explained that during the time his crew were in hypersleep, David spent years learning trinary code, and it was this code that changed him in some way. It allowed him to think for himself, to become curious, and to break free of Weyland's control. Although he was programmed to be a little bit different than other models, it was this code that assisted in him becoming more independent. Now it was also mentioned that the ending was different. Since Shaw learned that David was untrustworthy, instead of repairing his body, she decides to stay on the planet because she knows David betrayed everyone, so she could not take the risk by repairing him, which is a much more sensible decision for a human. And the last thing in the original script that really connects Prometheus to Alien was the last surviving engineer. Now the original script mentions that this engineer had lost control of his cargo of alien eggs. Then there was a breach somewhere, and at least one facehugger was loose on this ship. As it was trying to protect its race, he got impregnated, and since it knew it was going to die, he put himself in hypersleep. Then when he is awoken by the humans, it kills David and tries to leave the moon. But this is when the chestburster erupts and it kills him. Then the ship crashes on what we know as LV-426. And that is how everyone finds out who the space jockey was. Now, although some parts of the original script gave us the answers we wanted, it's possible this was changed to give Ridley Scott a chance to continue the storyline with more movies in the future. But there were some articles that mentioned Ridley Scott did not agree with some things in the original script, and that's also why it was changed into what we got in Prometheus. But what do you think about the original script called Alien Engineers? Do you think those changes were better than what we got in Prometheus? Put your answer in the comment section. To see more videos around the Alien universe, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. My name is Asaglow, and I'll see you in the next video.